Hello. How you doing? Welcome. Wow, that's a good pop. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Welcome to a live stream. Oh, and I hear myself echoing in the live stream feed. So let's pause everybody here. I hope you all are doing well. I am John Limcool, pluginguru.com. And I'm sorry, I got all these things I got to do. I got to share this link on my Facebook channel. Live stream event happening now. It's the half year in review live stream. And I put in the link, which will have an old thumbnail, if maybe no thumbnail at all. So we are going to have some fun. Greetings, everybody. Hey, Mike. Rex Hep. I haven't seen your name before. Wow. Kosovo. Is that like Russia? Awesome. Hey, so we're going to do a year in review, which means in the last 6 months, there have been 8 libraries we've released, and I want to share them with you and play with them a little bit and talk about them and stuff like that. And I just want to do one quick thing. I set this up last night, but I didn't do a double check to make sure everything is copacetic. Let me see. I might have forgot something. If so, I have to restart everything. But we're going to look at Repro, at Serum. There's a number of libraries for Omnisphere, of course. Let me go over here and see something. I might have forgotten to do something. The multi-northern impact. I forgot to do that. So let's put that in there. I'm going to quit and be right back so that this shows up, because I want to have these to show you guys. So hang on a second. My audio is going to kind of die away for a second to be right back. So we'll go quit. Okay, hopefully audio is working. Is audio working? Somebody give me a confirmation that audio is working, just because I want to make sure that something didn't get lost. Good, okay. Yeah. Oh, no, are you kidding me? I might have oh. See, this is what happens when you're doing lots of things all at once. I'm leaving in like 3 days on vacation, and so I can't use it as an excuse, but that's my excuse. I forgot to add the sound sources to these libraries I want to show you. My goodness, silly me. So we have to restart one more time. I'm very sorry. Let me make sure I get the right things. Northern Impact, Viola. We might show that by chance. Put those into here. Luckily, I can do this. Okay, I will quit one more time and be right back. That's right. There's a huge soccer game going on. Let me see real quick. I was following that too. Germany is playing Sweden, I think, right? And it's 1-1 49 minutes in. I think a lot of our European brothers will not be here. Sound again. Good. Okay. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yes. Football is very important in Europe, right? So, oh, I got to do one more thing. Please work. My goodness. I should show you these. So I've loaded some sounds in to the browser of Omnisphere, and I've shown this before, and I've got a video or a picture I send to all customers that have technical problems. But if you need, like, I'm trying to load in a multi from Northern Impact, and I say yes, and it says the sounds are not showing up. Now, I put them into the sound sources directory. I have so many libraries, I keep things out when I'm actually doing voicing work and building a library. So they're here, but as you can see, they haven't shown up yet because the actual directory hasn't been updated. So if you're here and you make sure you're on sample, you hit the little folder to go to the sample directory. Right here is this little refresh button. And by clicking that, it will force it to rescan the sound sources folder. And this should pop up to be a much larger list in a minute of sound sources. Because you put more sounds in it, it takes it longer to, a lot of times I make it so I just have a couple things in there, because when you're importing audio, if you have a whole lot of libraries, it takes forever to import every sample versus being really fast. If you only have like 1 or 2 libraries like this in here, it loads much, much faster when doing voicing work. So I have been, there we go. See, now all those libraries showed up. So now I can go to a multis and I could say March of Garuda, and it will now find the samples because it goes, oh yeah, you guys are here. And yeah, nice and loud and noisy and all that kind of stuff. I want Skip shooting basketball with LeBron James to watch a live stream for real. Just so you guys know, Big E works at Nike. He gets to work with all these people and do great things, but he likes the live streams, and I really appreciate that. It's really awesome. Anyway, this is just a summary year-end review or half-year review, because the year's not over. I am leaving next week for vacation. There won't be any more live streams for about 3 weeks. So this is it. If you have questions, pop them up. If you put a little ampersand and plug in Guru, I'm going to do that right here. Again. And then you say something. Then, as you can see, there are things that pops up, and then I see the message better and easier than if you don't. So if you have a question, do that so you get a box, so that way I can see it. Otherwise, I might miss it because sometimes lots of chats go on. Anyway, so the first library that came out this year is Repro. I need to be frozen for 2 weeks. And I did 2 libraries at once, one for Repro 5 and one for Repro 1. And I'm really proud of these libraries. They have great quality, great price. I mean, it's really fun stuff. The basses. Such a great plugin. The BPM stuff is really fun. The effects that are inside this are just the right effects. Hey, Jazz. So there was 64 patches. For Repro 1, and there's 64 patches for Repro 5. And the thing with 5 that's fun is it has unison. So you can create, let's go to the library. Really nice unison. Really cool. Now there's a couple other things in here that I want to show you, that I want to I designed it this way. I think I have strings in here too, right? In the pads. Yes. The quality of repro really screams brass to me. So there's now, whether you know this or not, one of the best kept secrets with synthesis is that samples by themselves sound better when you add synthesis. Here's without. Here's with. So if you have brass libraries, if you have string libraries, you can use synthesis layered with them and they will give you a dimension that's missing. Maybe just a little bit. Without. So there's patches in here that are designed to be layered with sampled strings and sampled brass to make them better, fuller, even more warm and more attack body. You know, you can do some nice things like that with it. Okay, so on top of all the other stuff that's inside of these power packs, all sorts of fun keyboard stuff, the leads, all the unison. I'm playing Repro 5, which is polyphonic. So with that, you can play chords, you can play it polyphonically. When you buy Repro 1, you get Repro 5. And that's why I made two different libraries. Repro 1, the question was, why are you playing it stacked? And so what I'm showing is Repro 1 is monophonic, so all the basses, that's about as big as you can get with Repro 1. But in Repro 5, it's multiple notes of polyphony. And so, oh, wrong button, Repro 5. So with this, when you say unison, it can take and make it into a very large, much bigger patch. That's why it's nice that they include both of them. When you buy one, you get the other. So you have two different worlds, basically. And inside the library I did for Repro, I did some patches specifically designed to go with sampled libraries. So here's the sampled brass again. When you combine that with these French horns, here's without. Big difference. Okay, so that's why I'm showing stacked. I'm showing the use of Contact 5 and a sample library. That's actually from the factory. It's just the Vienna Symphony library, sample library that comes with Contact 5. If you own Contact 5, you should know. If you don't, this right here, the factory library, there's VSL strings, woodwinds, brass, percussion. So you could go to the strings and say string ensemble, and this will load a lovely, right? But now take this and combine Repro 5s, go over here to the string stuff I did. mix this down. And without it, it's quite different. So even just a little bit, just and there's a marcato one here. You could go over to the contact library and they have a marcato staccato. It's without it. So part of the Hans Zimmer trick from the early days, he loved to do stuff where he would combine synth sounds layered with the orchestra. So you can do similar things with the Repro 5 or any synthesizer for that matter, but there's patches in here that cover that kind of thing. Watching football on the second stream. Yeah, so there's a football game going on. So all of our European friends are going to be tied up, hoping to see what happens. I might be following along myself, you know. 60 minutes, 1-1. I mean, if Germany loses, they are out of the World Cup, which would just be shocking to me because they're a good team. They're usually in the semifinals to finals, but not doing that great this time. So that's one library. So let me get this over here that we have brought out this year, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Another library that came out shortly after this, the next one we did was one with Jason Schopfer. Jason, who's done Northern Lights, he sent me some samples of like ice breaking and different things that he'd recorded around his house that he then processed with processing. And so here, if we initialize this, so what I got from him to start with, it got us all excited, was this Northern Impact. All these different, you hear elements of a sound effect, but then they've been processed in really cool different ways, right? And some are hits. These are all the hits. We have sound effects. This is my dog, Athena. Then there's effects. Right? Crazy stuff. Balloons, paper towels. Right? So there's hundreds of really cool... Alien laughing. It's been looped. And so we got busy making patches. So if we go over here to Northern Impact, we made basses. We got the ESC team that just released the tribute library. They were involved in making patches for this. So it's more than just the sound effects. The sound effects are there. And if you get down here to some of the special effects and textures, these are just crazy, beautiful, cool. Cool effects. You always need textures like this to put into your tracks. Ear candy, something to keep it interesting, exciting, right? Catastrophe. No, I'm not taking Athena to Costa Rica. I have someone staying at my house to watch my house and play with Athena so that she's not by herself. But I don't know if I could just bring an animal from America and take it to Costa Rica. Plus, there's over like 20-something poisonous snakes and all the insects that bite. And it's not a place for a dog unless it's a dog that's grown up there, I don't think. So Athena would not do very well there. And I don't want to have to worry about her while I'm going down zip lines at 60 miles an hour. So this is Northern Impact. Sound effects, hits. These are just the samples by themselves. So there's all that. There's really cool synths and other things that are using. Those sounds together. There's, it's just really fun, creative stuff. There's multis. That's what I was trying to get ready to show you guys. So that there's all sorts of. Is it possible to show use of mod controller on the screen? They actually, Logic had crashed and burned as far as that ability, but I can. If I use Serum, and I just have that running in the background here, that'll give you that keyboard to look at. And that way you can see like this. And when I move the mod wheel, you'll see this mod wheel move. Okay, so that will work, right? So let's get back up here. Oh, but then I need to turn on the volume. Yeah. Killing my computer a little bit. So that was Northern Impact. My computer can barely handle all this stuff that's going on. So that was a fun library of sound effects, sound design. We got a lot of people involved because when you're working with sound effects and stuff like that, you kind of want it to be one of those things where you've got different people's ideas of what a sound effect is in the library. And so it was fun to have other people contributing to that. Following this, the next library to come out was OMG Drums Volume 2. And this was such a fun project. This is one of those, this is Volume 2. There's Volume 1, which was film, dubstep, hip hop, trap, all these genres. This originally came from Break Tweaker, where we'd created a library called the OMG Library and had all these chill, all the dance, tons of dance, dubstep, film, hip hop. Let's see. Right? And then techno and trap. Well, I divided it into two libraries for Omnisphere because it's just too many multis and too many grooves to try to handle in a single library, because each one of these I pull apart into some really crazy things. So to get this to work, there's basically a kit, which is, oh, what are we going on here? Repro. Uh-oh. Did I break this? Let's see here. I copied over the OMG library, so they should be working but they don't seem to be working. Let's see here. So if I go over here to OMG drums. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Duh. Sorry. So here is the kit. And this is volume 2. So we would take this. We only did for volume 2 is only dance and trance. Everything else was volume 1. Dance and trance were so many that became all that's found in part 2. I did most of the dance. Airwave did most of the trance. So this works like the other libraries where you have a kit of the 6 samples that were made in Break Tweaker. Then we made the groove using the arpeggiator for each of the 6 parts. Oh, this is the groove, so I need to go to the loop. Sorry. So this is using, here's the kick pattern. You could mess it up if you want, really easy. Mess up the patterns. It's really fun to play with and make your own grooves. And then we took this one step further in that we assigned it down to low C to play the groove, and then above that we would take the synth sounds and stuff that we're using in the grooves, and if we look over here on the stack page, you can see there's a groove, there's a bass part, and then there's a synth lead part. There we go. Okay, so we did that to all of these different grooves, and they go all over the place. So you can mess up the grooves and everything just with the mod wheel. And low C starts the drum pattern for each of the grooves. So there's so many, my goodness. When you get down to the techno stuff, Airwave jumped in. He did the original, so I said, hey, do you want to do these? So I hired him. He went through and did an incredible job taking the kits to the loops to the grooves. And they go all over the place. They're really, it's like another Airwave library. So there's, I don't know, like 48, some crazy number of these were grooved. Speed this up. So without the drums, it's really cool. Then you add the drums. So you can do basically like a whole album songwriting idea-wise, you have a place to sit and work at that's just really fun to... And it's very fun to go, okay, this part 8 is the top part. So you go to part 8, look at the sounds used. Make it your own, really easy. Go to Harmonia. Turn down that noise a little bit. Wow. Bring down the Q. So, I changed it to a completely different sound for you. And I can go to the bass parts. And sometimes there's 2 parts, right? So if you go to the mixer, so I could go to 7, part 7. Let's unsolo these since we now know that part 7 is what we want to play with. And choose this waveform, turn on maybe unison. Maybe octave it down. So I just changed it pretty quickly to be a whole different. So that's the fun of this is these starting places to play with that it's pretty easy to go in and completely mess up. And then we saved out all the patches. So if you want to really get crazy and try to create something that's not even connected to each other, initialize everything. Hey, Coxa. It's not overtime till the 17 minutes plus additional time. Oh my goodness. There's that many injuries in the game? Wow. Well, let's keep going and see what happens, right? So check this out. This is really fun. So you go over here to the multi-mode page to stack and turn on stack. And now you can go to the patches of OMG Drums Volume 2. Let's say we want a kick. Let's go down here to the kicks. Turn on the ARP. Let's go to part 2. Let's say I want to go to some sort, let's see if there's some BPM stuff here. So we could say BPM bass. Go to part 3. Let's do a chord. Here. Go to part 4. Let's have some high energy. Let's go to hi-hats and turn on the ARP. And you can start building up your own so easily. So these are all the bass grooves from all of the different grooves. So it's very easy when it's in components like this. It's like a modular synth. You can take this module, and this module, and Frankenstein something totally new. So we kind of made it into a modular setup as well as these preset all set up, ready to go. You just hit groove, and now you've got things to play with. Start right away, you know. Straight out of the box. Just call up the patches and you're having fun. So OMG came out. Great success. Lots of people really happy with that library. Very happy with it. We're working on OMG Drums Urban now for Omnisphere. That will be coming out July, August. And it's getting there. We got a ways to go. We at this point, we are up to the point of the loops. I haven't made any grooves yet. This would be really fun to play with once they're all sussed out across the keyboard and stuff like that, right? So this will be coming out next. This is the next. We're working on violin. Nothing to show you at the moment, but it is really, really sweet what is happening there. Really excited about that. That's coming up later this year. There's some other surprises coming out later this year. So OMG Volume 2 was great. And then Viola came out. Mega Magic Viola. And this was a really fun accomplishment to come up with to get this done. Instruments are a lot of work. And these came out really nicely. Considering we only have up to 8 samples across the keyboard, it's our limit for these libraries. So here's the vibrato, just to have. Here's dry, so you can. Right? So there's the vibrato, the dry, the crescendos. Let's do the Mega Magic crescendos. And just keep echoing on. Beautiful stuff. The pizzicatos came out great. There's spiccato up and down, which I used in some fun bowing. Oh, here's the dry one. So that I'll show you the trick. There's a cool trick to this because we're actually having it switching samples. So this is playing this, which is the third patch. See it lit up here. I'm using velocity, and at one velocity it's playing one layer, and the other velocity is playing the down layer. So we got the ups and the downs. You know, so we can get these kind of more realistic articulations by doing tricks like that. That's about the extent of the tricks that we could do. I did do some bonus patches at the very end that are now part of the library for more dynamic solo. So there's 3 different dynamics. There's silky for more of the sad lines, things like that. Because I realized when I made these that these top ones didn't quite have, hello, the vibrato here. It didn't have the. They were there accurately, technically, but it wasn't. So when you get this, I suggest going down here if you're trying to do like anything close to like a solo line or something you're going to layer with strings. That's far more natural. There's a breathing to it, things that you don't have from just the stock multis that I created. I missed that when I first released it out, so I put those out as a bonus library. They're now included when you buy the library and it's downloaded to your computer. On top of this, at the end of the list, as you see, it goes to the marcatos, spiccatos. Then we have the motions. This motion slow is just maybe my favorites of all of them because there's this motion. That's the Mega Magic. Here's a dry. It's beautifully sweet. Because my goal is always to try to create things that you haven't quite heard before, that other libraries don't quite give you in the same way. So these, you just call it up and it's there doing this cool thing. You take something like that and you layer it with like repro. Let's say we find a, see if I can do this without killing. I'll probably kill my computer is what I'm guessing. Yeah. But see how beautiful that is? Yeah, computer can't handle it with the live stream and everything going on. But that's kind of the idea, is these are things that you can layer with other sounds. And then at the end, these 12, 13, 14, let's see, 11, yeah, 12, 13, 14, 15 are composite layers. I did some things where I layered cello samples from the Mega Magic Cello Library with the viola samples to make more ensemble. The Regal scape is this nice. It's more like actually a string orchestra in some respects. Just using the viola and the cello samples together and multi-tracking and all that kind of processing. Ambience, reverb. Flutterscape has the so this was a very fun library to put together. At the top of it, there's all these before you get even to the VL1 through 15s are the kind of just the samples by themselves. These above that say pad are programmed using both samples from Omnisphere as well as these samples. To give you the best of both worlds, combining the samples from both places. So there's all sorts of stuff here to play with. There's Darkly orchestras. And this was a library that I released. So when you look at the patches, I released it as a public for everybody to play with and make patches. So when you get to the patch level, there's patches from a whole lot of people. It's really awesome. If we get over here to Viola and you hit the author, all these people contributed patches to the library. The ESC was involved, as well as other people that are not part of the ESC. So it was really fun to have lots of people finding cool ways of using. David Coffin asking, any life left in Stylus with all these drum things for Omnisphere, Contact, etc.? No, I'm afraid to say I tried with the OMG library. There are kits. There's, if you load up Stylus RMX, this is about the best I could do. And to be honest, it didn't sell enough considering how much work it took to make this that I'm not going to do this again. If you go to here and you go to the user libraries, we did both, where is it? The Beat Breakers, which was a combination of grooves, which so there's those, and then at the end of these kits, and I made a handful of these where it has all these samples. across the keyboard for all these different grooves. You don't want it to play that way, but you can. And then I made MIDI files for it. And drum kits 2 was all these other, all the hip hop kits, the techno kits. So this was actually tricking Omnisphere by thinking that it was a wave file that we recycled to chop up each drum sound. So when you play it, it's on the keys as a loop. So that's why each time I select one of these, it starts to want to play it as an audio file. So you can hear what I sequenced to make it play. Is a huge amount of work, and it's too much work. So there needs to be an update to Stylus. If that ever happens, then I can take a handful of these things that I've done and convert them over. But is it time to run the live stream on a second computer? Maybe. Want to buy me a computer? Let's see here. I mean, I still have to get the audio and feed it in. It gets very complicated when you get multiple computers running. And this is a bonus free thing. I come and hang out every Saturday with you guys and share knowledge. And, you know, this is freebies. This is stuff I don't know any other company that does this. So it is what it is. Sorry if it's a little imperfect, but that's what it is. So Viola came out and was really cool. Really happy with how that turned out. Very proud. Mary Eckert played great. Drew Canulet did a great job with the engineering. We're working on violin. I need to do I'm going to set up a session for later this year to do double bass, so I can get all 4 string instruments, and we'll see what happens there. You know, I just live life and make sounds and share them with you, and like to hang out and talk to you guys. So here we are. Now, the next thing I brought out was for Break Tweaker, and this is something I worked with NATO Fields on, and that was the OMG Urban Library, because I've had a lot of requests from people for urban grooves and urban sounds and things for, if you pop up the pop radio top 50, it's like 70% or so is urban influenced hip hop dance stuff. Still, it's the takeover of techno has diminished quite a bit in America. I think in Europe it's still pretty heavy techno, but here in the States we've got all sorts of really cool artists. My daughter's in high school. All those guys love listening to the people that do that kind of stuff. Yeah. Thank you, guys. That's very nice. Yeah, well, a string quartet will be fun. Again, I only have 8 samples, so how do I map a string quartet when I only have 8 samples? It is what it is. But off topic here, has anyone ever experienced? What do you mean by the sounds sounding warped or fatigued? Would that be just process? You might be wearing out your processor as far as if you get crackling and there's audio discrepancies like that. Interesting, Greg. Usually only when you're pushing your computer really hard do you get to the point where the audio starts to change. So I would look at your buffer settings, how much memory you have, your processor speeds, what else is happening. If you just load up a song and that same sound, does it do it? Or is it only when you're in a big mix with like 15 instruments with different things that you start to have the problem? Do some troubleshooting to find out, you know, is this something that happens all the time, even when it's just this by itself? If you hear the sounds that you're hearing. So this was really cool. This is the... all sorts of killer grooves. And all of these have the 6 samples. So you can sequence it that way. Okay, so there's 45 grooves. They sound so nice, right? This is low end, yeah. Well, if you did use 4 different omnisphere for the libraries playing for a quartet, that would be lovely. I have some ideas. I have some tricks up my sleeve I'm going to try, but we'll get there, you know. The plug-in guru experience is an experience that is just always changing and developing, and you know, it's I don't know what I'm doing in 6 months, so just pull up. So we made this library for Break Tweaker, and I noticed right away that there was a couple things. Number one, there's really cool sounds that would be cool in a synthesizer. And then I want to keep supporting my Kontakt 5 drum kits that I've got in Kontakt. And so I took those grooves and basically pulled them apart and put them into drum kits for Super Macho drums. So if you own Super Macho drums and you own the full version of Kontakt 5, you can get these kits. So that here, that was pull up. So you could go over here to pull up. Where is it at? Pull up. And if you go over here to the grooves, there's MIDI file grooves. So you can go down the list to pull up. Pull up. There's the groove. Or you can choose any of these grooves. Using those sounds. But the cool thing with this, there's a couple of things. Stop. You have the ability to modify the drum sounds easier and without killing your computer. Break Tweaker, you start to do edits and stuff. It's just not fun. The CPU power of Break Tweaker is so high. It's fun to have them over here in a format. Plus you have all these other samples. You have 56 other samples across the keyboard. And I did the same kit layout for all of these. So if you wanted to, you could take this groove and drag it over here to Kontakt, and now it's a MIDI file. And now you can go to the kits. Change the kits. So there's all sorts of fun things like this happening with Super Macho drums, just to keep it. This is still the fastest way to, if you want to mess this up quickly, say we want to put a pitchy G. Shorter, and I want this snare to be up in pitch. It's very easy to modify things. I'm going to put this through reverb and start jamming along. So they exist as 45 drum kits plus bonus kits. I added some bonuses at the very end, so that at the very top, make sure you have these. If you don't, they're on the website to download. These menus are really useful. They put all the kicks, all the snares, all the hats, all on one 127 note map, or all the claps. Here's all the kicks, just the kicks. Here's all the snares and hats. So you have. And I did a video recently showing how you could use glitch to take this sound here, and if you hit the mapping editor, it's very easy to remap. I now have 4 notes with the same sample that I quickly, just by re-indexing it. So I have 4 samples, so I could turn on glitch for this one. And I want to go to the glitch page. I want it to be 30-second notes, and I want it to repeat 4 times. And this one here, I want to have reverb. And then this one, I want it to glitch, and I want to go up and... So you can really quickly do glitchy hi-hat things and all sorts of fun things with this interface. So we did that. And then for the moment, I put all of these synth sounds, the subs, the bass, the leads, all that kind of stuff into Serum. So if you go over here to Urban, you have all the basses, the subs, the effects. There's some guitar things from Mega Magic Guitar added to the library. There's Mega Magic Cello and Viola added to this library for Serum. So you can get all sorts of lovely pad things like you'd never expect to hear. You know, Serum is all about all these kind of, like, if you go to the Evil library, it's all the... And NATO did an incredible library with all the cool... So if you need that to be going on, Power Tools is where to go for that. So Urban, to have Mega Magic Guitar playing is a whole different vibe than what you normally get out of Serum. So the Urban library is great for that type of hits. All the cool things, the blip, the plucks, those are all in here. And then the subs are just huge. And the sub bass, like these that the JO ones, I made these in Serum and then sampled them for Break Tweaker. But we have those as well as the ones from NATO. These right here are, but they're tuned, so you can play them to the key of your song. So the same library exists in 3 different places depending on how you want to use it. Using Urban in Serum is going to be a whole different experience than using it in Break Tweaker. You're going to use Break Tweaker for your groove components. This is to take that sub. What you could do, it'd be really fun to take Break Tweaker, get one of these grooves. You would mute. This one, for example, go to the sub, the boom, mute it. And then you want to turn on sync so that it follows the sync of your song. So I need to quantize it because I was playing clear out of time there. Let's say 8th notes just to make sure that it's... And now you can go to the Serum library. And build it up using a completely different bass sound, different bass progression because you want to do an original song. So off you go. So you can use the libraries together to make it even better than it is by itself. So that was the idea between having it in 3 different formats. You choose which format you want to use it in, and there's a bundle to get all 3 if you want. So that came out. That's done okay. It's not great, but we'll see what happens there. It was fun to do. And then finally, we have Omnisphere 2's final library. This was a crazy... the ESC Tribute Library was created by a number of people in the live stream. You guys are all awesome. Does Serum use Mucho CPU? It can. Hey, Gareth. Good to see you, buddy. It can. It depends. All of these depend on what you've turned on. If you have... with Serum, you have to look at... There's parameters... Excuse me. That will eat up CPU cycles really quickly. Right here is your unison. And you can go up to 16 voices of unison. And that can eat up power when you have two oscillators that are each doing 16 voices of unison. And then in the effects section, there's a whole lot of effects. So a lot of the sounds for Serum, I picture Serum being used in a lot of cases where it's just doing a really cool bass or an effect or a squawk or something like that. And it's not so CPU heavy. If you are using it with samples, the sample player, for some reason, it's a really high quality, but it does have a bit of a stronger CPU hit than if you had these samples inside a Contact, for example. Then I've asked Steve to look at that, but there's something about the math of how this works that they don't want to touch because it sounds really great. Single sample across the whole keyboard has really a nice sound quality to it. So it can be a CPU hit depending on what you have it doing. You purchased the Urban Bundle, and I'm missing Mega Macho drums for... well, Super Macho drums is what you need. And that's $69. I'm going to be having some sale while I'm in Costa Rica, so keep your eyes open, okay? So what happened with the game is I'm sorry we're watching World Cup kind of at the same time. What happened? Who won? What's the conclusion? Oh my! Germany got a score. 2-1. They beat Sweden. Wow. Congratulations, Germany. Oh, there you go. Sorry for the Swedish guys here. It's all in good faith, right? And so the final library, let's wrap this up. The final library is this really lovely 250 patches that were created by a number of people here. Clark Parker, Tim Dale, Gareth. These guys are part of the ESC, which is this coalition of European programmers that have just really done some amazing things. All of these people contributed to this library and then sent it to me to release. And they've been studying my videos and the work, and they've worked on their programming, and just incredible work. So there's 250. I mean, they go all over the place. The BPM stuff, there's a massive amount. ARPs, basses. Rhythmic stuff. And these are really fun to layer. So let's turn on stack, go to the second part, say the ESC Tribute Library, and choose a different bass part. BPM, bass. Let's go to part 3. So there's fun stuff. Really fun. So it was very nice of them to do it as a tribute to yours truly. Thank you again, guys. really an honor. There's 250, there's so many. I just did the patch walkthrough. There's 3 demo songs that I wrote that I went through and showed how I use the sounds, what mastering effects I used. So watch those videos if you want to see more about how to use this library. It's such a great set of really cool, I would call it an out-of-the-box library. It's not like you will find string orchestras. Play some of the awesome pads. Yes, there's some awesome pads. Yes, track stacking is really fun. If you haven't used that, especially when you have a handful of libraries, you could take this. This will even work. So turn on track stacking, go to part 2, and let's say we wanted to add a BPM ARP. Then go to the multi to the mixer page and turn the ARP down. And you've just made a really cool complex sound from 2 patches layered. And then go to each one and choose other patches to see. Go to part 2. Go to part 3. Let's go to OMG drums and choose a kick. Go to part 5. Now the rule of thumb, the way it works, when you turn on stack mode, as you can see, it turns on 4 parts. It doesn't turn on all 8 parts. If you want to go above 4 parts, if I go to part 5 and I go searching and I find something else to add to this, let's say I wanted to add another hi-hat part and I turn on the ARP, I don't hear it because it's not been recognized and turned on. So you right click and you say add part 5, add part 6, add part 7, add part 8. These still don't make any sound until you assign something to them, but you have to turn them on past part 4. So I go to part 6. Let's go to the tribute library. And there's some cool drums here. Yeah, even like Dark Box is fun. So you can build a song just in Omnisphere by combining patches from completely different libraries. That's the fun of having lots of libraries, is because they each have a different set of cool things to work with. Let's add some chords. Now, in a case like this, let's go to part 7 and look what's going on here. So it's turn on harmonia just for fun. Just hit harmonia to add a 5th. And then you can go in here and I like to actually do like plus 19. And the fun thing, believe it or not, if These are all playing, listening to MIDI channel 1, which means they're all listening to the mod wheel. And what's the rule with every plugin guru patch? Mod wheel does something cool. So play this with the mod wheel. All the sounds will change. Okay. So as you can see, my computer is kind of going, hold on, you're playing 7 Omnisphere parts at once, plus live streaming, plus all this other stuff that's going on. But that's how that's why Omnisphere is so fun to work with. It's designed so that it's really easy to go over to the multi-mode, hit stack, and start building. And every time you start building, you will make something completely different. You just have to turn on stack. Once you've done that, you just go to each patch, find a sound. If you choose the BPM, every time, it's something fun. So you could use this and then build around it with other synthesizers and drums and so forth, okay? Make a beat with one instance of Omnisphere. Yeah, it's very easy to do that. And what's fun with this is, like I was showing with the OMG libraries, it gets even more insane. Here, I'll do this. I'm going to be silly. I'm going to, hold on 1 second, because I don't care if it looks bad and sounds bad. It's my live stream. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to put some more patch libraries. This is what I do. Because I have so many libraries that I've made for this silly plugin, I have them in an out folder. And I'm going to go to the patch folder, and I'm going to take all these just libraries. So I want to take the Airwave. Did I put the Airwave? I didn't put the Airwave libraries in. So it's, or did I? Patch out. Did I go to patches, settings, patches? No. They're not here. Interesting. Well, we could do Omnipulse and Omnipulse 2. OmniX from Tim Dale is really cool. Percussa would be really fun to play with. And I don't know where the Airwave libraries went. I must have put them someplace else. But let's take these libraries, add them into the patches folder. Now to get them to show up, let's see, what's the... to get those to show up, I have to quit and come back. So I'm quitting, I'm saving, I'm quitting. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Thank you, Big E. So now by quitting and restarting, when I go here to the patches, you'll notice that a whole bunch of other patch libraries showed up. Percussa's here. Omnipulse is here. Now, Percussa is fun because this was percussion and cinematic in a way, but it's useful for all sorts of things. So there's the drums, there's the bass drums and stuff. But if you go to the BPM stuff, and make sure stack is turned on. Oh shoot, I don't have the samples in for Percussa. Oh, my bad. Well, let's go to Omnipulse. These has all sorts of... Oh. Oh, I'm all falling apart here. Sorry. It's not loading the right things. Okay, never mind. But yes, it's easy to build grooves using... I'm just not prepared to set that up. I don't have it set up right, so I apologize. But you can build up the BPM. That's why everything in the patch libraries that I've released, BPM is at the beginning of the name of things that are rhythmic. So that's really easy to know that you can use this. You go to part 2 and go to Omnipulse. And that works. Go to part 3. Percuss is not working. Those aren't, but Omni X is working. So we could go up here. Drums. Part 4, let's say another. Omni X is a cool library for Tim Dale, by the way. Shout out Tim Dale. Tech asks if I build Sense in Reactor. I do not. I use Sense in Reactor, and I have built libraries for Razor. Do I have any libraries for any other I don't have any other Reactor ensembles that I have supported. That's a wormhole. That's like years of work to learn how to use just Reactor to make ensembles. And I don't get that far down the wormhole because I would never come back out and there'd be no, instead of 6 or 8 patches libraries this year, there would be 1. And I couldn't do this full time if that was the case. So no, I do not do that. But you can. Don't forget the Mixer page. It's very important for it. Hey, there's Bernie. All right. Well, I'm about to wrap up. But this 6 months has been amazing. The libraries that have come out have been great. Check this out. I did this artwork earlier so we could... This is the thumbnail that's there. So it's been a great year. I'm going away. There won't be live streams for at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. We'll wait and see how bad sunburns and all that kind of stuff are from where I'm going. I'm going to Costa Rica for 15 days. So that will be really fun. My assistant, Tim Dale, will be here. We'll be answering email, helping keep the website running and stuff like that. So if there's any questions, you can still contact us and we will try to help you out, even if I'm not in the United States at the time, okay? Thank you, guys. All right, hey, so we haven't done it. I've forgotten the last couple of times. Let's do a shout out. So shout out from where you are. I'm going to do a major shout out. Shout out. PDX style. And congratulations to Germany for winning the I'll come back married. I'm taking my daughter with me, so I don't think so. Thank you. Yes, we're going to have a really great time. We can't wait. It's going to be fun. Yes, shout out from Bernie. He's in Amsterdam. Camus, good to see you, dog. Heidelberg, Germany. Congrats. West side of LA, right on. Good to see you all. Always keeps the weekends a little fun to have you guys show up for the little chat. Here, let's do this. Let's see, how could I do this really quickly? I was going to load up something. Let me see if I can do this. I might not be able to do this very easily. Open recent. I'll be right back. This probably won't work, but I'm going to try. Close. We can save it. All right, I should be back. Can you hear me? I'm just going to play a demo from the ESC library that I did. Let's see. That. Okay, So here's just a little something, little fun taster of the ESC library. This is Indivisible Justice. Let me go like this. Let you guys see the sequence page. See X. It's 5 different sounds from the ESC library. I really love these two together. There's a cool sound effect sound. There's a lead sound being used as a bass. And then there's a vocal sound that's got granular synthesis on it. So it's vocal samples. Then there is one Contact 5 Super Macho drums playing like one of the chill grooves from the down-tempo chill stagger. It's going into a reactor that's got molecular on it, so you'll hear some crazy drum stuff. There's also two effect syn routings to, as you can see, Valhalla shimmer as well as to the RC48. We'll pop these all up so you can see all the insanity going on. Let's see if I turn off the keyboard, turn away the browser so it's smaller, and shrink this. All right, so enjoy. Oh, I need the effects to work. Oh, shoot. The drums don't sound right. Oh, well. That kick sure sounds good, huh? I was using some crazy Universal Audio effects. They're not available at the moment. Oh, these aren't working because I have... So, you see the automation? So there you go. All right. So yes, I'm taking a field recorder with me. So I'll be recording rainforests and waterfalls and all sorts of oceans. And I have all sorts of cool planned ideas for that for later this year as something fun. Enjoy the ESC library. It goes off sale tonight. So if you don't have it, it will be $35, which is still, it is still a really great price for 250 patches and 50 sound sources that are very cleverly used to make all sorts of really cool patches. Again, I love just playing this. If you want to play this at home, this is a combination of these two patches. It is the Drowning House and then the Longing Ambient String Piano from Clark Parker, who's, I think both these guys are in the chat right now, so I was playing their handiwork. Great stuff. So the library is just chock full of sounds used in ways you would not expect, which is really fun to come across and very inspiring for me. I wrote this and the other two demo songs in like 48 hours. Could keep right on writing because it was so fun to work with. So highly regarded and appreciated. So yeah, it's a movie kind of soundtrack sound for sure. I mean, sixth sense kind of stuff, things like that. All right. Well, be well. I'm out of here. We got all sorts of stuff to do before we take off on this trip. The insanity. Oh my gosh. But yeah, thank you for joining me and on this live stream. It's been fun as always. Be well. Take care of yourselves. Again, Taylor is around to answer questions if you have them. Yes. Props to all of you guys. Peace. See ya.